Hello and welcome to week 4 of Battleathon. If you don't know what Battleathon is, it is a month-long readathon created by Melanie Reads. I am co-hosting the red team with Books with Lexi. At the time of seeing this video, sadly, you are too late to participate. However, go subscribe to Mel for future rounds of Battleathon in the future because it was such an epic and amazing month and I truly just had so much fun with everybody. Week 4, the Red Dragons are battling it out for first place. We have been ruthless and have been annihilating our competitors. I believe in us, Red Dragons. We can do it. We can come out the winning team. So in order to help my team get points, because Battleathon is a readathon where you get points based on your star ratings, you want to get higher star ratings, you want to be giving books 5 stars. I have brought the wheel back again because I can't be trusted. And this time it has things that I just enjoy in books. These are things that I think lead me to want to pick up a book, to love a book. These are things that often lead to 5 stars for me. So I will spin and I'll get like a trope or setting or whatever it is. And then I'll have to pick a book based on that thing. Very, very excited for this. Now I came home a little tipsy last night. I was starting this vlog off slightly tipsy. I just got home from dinner with my family. However, I'm about to make my bed, which means I need to spin so that I have an audiobook. But I did record my first spin. I was at least smart enough to do that. I landed on magical creatures last night. And I'm maybe stretching this prompt just a little bit, because I feel like when I made this prompt, I was thinking more like an animal companion or like a dragon or something. And the magical creatures in this book are just kind of part of the world building. They're not necessarily like a companion of any sort. I have decided to pick up the sequel to The Emperor's Blade. I don't currently own the physical copy of book 2, but I have the audio. I read book 1 last week for week 3. I gave it 4 stars. I really enjoyed my time and I just said I wanted to continue as soon as I landed on this. I was like, I want to continue. And there are like these big birds that fly military and they're like part of like the military training. Like you learn how to fly together on this one big bird and use it to your advantage, which is really cool in my opinion. The second book is called Providence of Fire and I did start it. I'm about 20% into the audio currently. Something about Stavley's writing for me is just very comfortable. I feel like I can just listen to it and I don't have to think too hard. It just like easily digests into my brain. It feels very like natural. I do feel enriched into the world. Something I complained about in book 1 why it didn't get 5 stars for me is just like connection to characters and I wanted them to have a little bit more personality because sometimes they ran together. I do already think that they are better in book 2. I can definitely tell them apart. We are getting a more evenly spread out of POVs because the first one was very heavy in one character and I'm really enjoying it so far. I'm really enjoying it. I'm hoping for a 5 star in my future. Hello, I'm about 50% into the Providence of Fire and I'm having a really good time with this one. I just vibe with Brian Stavley's writing. Like I just find it very like homely. Like I just like listen to it and just love it. Like there's something that just feels so effortless about it for me. However, something I'm really loving about this second book in the series is how we're really seeing all the politics come to play and I have no idea who I'm supposed to be trusting. Like other than the 3 main POVs, but even then, there's one that I'm like, do I trust you? Do I really trust you? But like all the other characters, I feel like anyone could be part of the scheme to take the Empire down. And like, what do I do with that knowledge? How do I exist in this book? And like that's giving me like such good vibes. I really am enjoying that. I'm loving just seeing our characters grow in this one. We're definitely getting a more balanced 3 POV story and I'm really liking all of the arcs that the characters are going on. And we got some cool magic happening too. That's my update for now. I'm just editing pictures all day, so I probably will be finishing this one soon, but I do want to physically read tonight, so I will be doing another spin in a bit, just so I can have a physical read because this is my audiobook. We're just taking a little break for some dinner. We have a little bowl that my mother made me. Delicious. We're gonna watch some Wheel of Time. Okay, I want a bedtime, like a reading book, so we are gonna spin again, even though I'm not done the Providence of Fire, just to... Hi. Oh, that drool, Mickey. Just so that I have a book that I can read like physically before bed. So, here's my wheel. Let's spin. A sequel. I have an arc of Griever's Blood, but I also have an arc of Trader of Redwinter. So I'll read one of those because that'll be perfect. It's on my phone. Nice, easy. read and it gets a NetGalley arc done. Okay, I wanted to update you because I did start Traitor of Redwinter last night. And I did just forget how easy it is to sink back into this world. I really do enjoy the world that Ed McDonald has written. It's perfect for fall time, so I'm like really excited that I picked it up. If you haven't read the first book in the series, I'll just like roughly tell you what it's about without spoilers. So we're following a world where if you have the sight, you are murdered. So what the sight is you can see the dead, you can see ghosts, but this is looked down upon. This is like a sign of evil and sign of darkness. So when that's figured out, they kill you. But then we also have a magical system where people can access different gates of like spirituality that has magical abilities that come forth from the different gates. Not everyone can get to the gates, so only some people have the ability, and not everyone is strong enough to get to all 6 gates. Most people stay at like the first gate. If you have this magical ability, you are said to train to protect the crown. I'm not going to tell you what the crown is, but it's really cool. And our main character has both this ability to reach the gates, but also the sight. So she's hiding the sight and what this means from the people around her as she trains at Redwinter, which is like a school setting for like a military academy of like magical order. And I just like really, really love this world and the setup. I think the characters are really interesting. I like the themes that are discussed in it. The first book has a lot about grief and like lack of grief and what that means. And I'm expecting something very similar in the second book as we deal with like power and the corruption of power, I think, within the second book. I don't know, I got like 20% in and I just like flew through it. I was really like easily back into the story, back into our main character. There is a summary at the beginning, but I also do think that the first couple chapters do a good job of reminding you what happened in book 1, and I definitely needed that. There's like this girl of feathers that is also a mystery element to the story, and I'm really excited to learn more about that. I just want to keep reading, so that's good. I just got home from a photo shoot and I am curling up in my nice brand new bed. Because yes, I did finish it. That night that I came home tipsy, I did build it, but I've kind of been keeping it a secret from you because I wanted to keep it to myself for a couple of days. I'm really happy with how it turned out. I think I have a clip from when I built it and it doesn't have like the mattress on it, so you can really see the frame. Before I put the last little things in, I figured I'd show it to you. It's looking so good up here. I'm really, really loving it. The color of the wood turned out so good in my opinion. I am very happy, and Mickey also loves it. It's higher than my bed was before, and he, I think, is really liking the height on it, which is funny because like I have to make him like steps so that he can get up here because he can't jump up here anymore, but he does like the height. Let me see if I can like show you. You can see it like peeking out on either side. My bed is really crappily made because I'm just hanging out in it. And it's still a construction zone in here. There's still literally the paper from making it, but this is what it looks like. But before I turned off the lights and I curled into bed, I did want to just tell you what the Providence of Fire / the Emperor's Blades is actually about, because I think I just assumed anyone watching this vlog would have seen week 3 where I read the first book in the series. This is a series that follows our 3 main characters who are all siblings, and when their father, who is the Emperor, dies, they have to figure out who murdered their father, and there's like a plot against their bloodline, and people are trying to like take over the unhewn throne, and so the 3 of them have to figure it out, but they're all on separate ends of the earth on like little destinies that their father set them on, and I think it's really cool. I'm really enjoying it. I haven't read a lot more since I last updated you, but I'm still really enjoying book 2. Book 2 I'm liking better than book 1, and I really enjoyed book 1 as well. Okay, Mickey, do you want to say goodnight? Good night, vlog. He's like, dude, just let me sleep. Quick update just to tell you that I am loving the Providence of Fire. The expansiveness, the epicness, the scale of the world building, the scale of the politics is just chef's kiss. Like 10 out of 10. I think it is so big and so engaging, but also so natural. There is a lot of moving parts to this. There are a lot of different magic systems in it. There are a lot of different like politics. There's a lot of like different legions within the empire. Like there's a lot of moving parts. It feels very natural to me. It doesn't feel like I have to sit here and try really hard to like understand things. I'm really adoring Brian Stabley's writing for that ability to just kind of have me immersed inside this world instead of like feeling like I'm struggling to follow along. However, I will say like, there's a lot to it. I would recommend it for like intermediate fantasy, probably not necessarily beginner fantasy, but it's definitely a story that I am loving, and I just want to finish and continue with the 3rd book and final book of the trilogy. That's exciting. Enjoying sprints with Jade today, and I'm about to have some tomato soup and a grilled cheese for lunch as I finish up the Providence of Fire. I'm really excited. You can see a Jade and a Finny boy in there. I finished. 5 stars. 5 freaking stars! Like, this was so expansive and so incredible. And like, I just don't have words right now, so I'm going to think on the book. And then I'm going to come back and give you a good description of how I feel. But 5 freaking stars to the Providence of Fire. How am I supposed to just like not pick up book 3? Tell me. Tell me how. All of my complaints from book 1 do not exist in book 2. The characters, they have their own personalities. You see them go in their own arcs. We get a balanced 3 POV, actually more than 3 POVs, but we get a balanced story that actually like is equally each character instead of just really following Valen the entire time. Who I still love Valen, and he's still my favorite POV because I just like love the side characters in his POV. And like what's going on in like the military stuff. But I really liked getting both of his siblings' POVs equally as much as him in this. And I think it made the story a lot better. It made it feel more full, and it made it be able to be this expansive story that it is, because this is, I think, one of the most expansive worlds I've read in a really long time. There are so many pieces at play. Like, it is a gigantic board, and I don't even think we're seeing all of it quite yet. And I'm so excited to see how it all concludes. Like, I just like the politics in this. What? One of my other big complaints was just like the female characters in book 1. And in book 2, I don't think a single female character was described the way they were described in book 1, which I like. I think that means an author was really growing and realized we didn't need to put those. Also a sign of our characters growing, because I think that the teenage boys that we're following, their priorities shift. And I think that that was really interesting to see. I really liked all the female characters we got in this. I think that they existed in their own right in this story. I think that we saw them get their own character arcs. I really did enjoy them. There are 3, maybe 4 females that like I actively really love and could see being like some of my favorite females if we continued to get the character growth we've been seeing in book 2. I don't know how I'm gonna spin this and not pick up the 3rd book. So I'm warning you now, if it's something I can fit the 3rd book into, we may be binging it, because like, I'm obsessed. I really liked that. Like, a lot. Like, the world building just blew my mind. I don't know what to say. I just went on Amazon because Indigo doesn't have them, and I ordered them all so I can have them. I'm so excited. But let's spin. I don't know what I want. Hybrid genre. I'm gonna have to think about this one. It's literally like 5 seconds later, but you know it's a hybrid genre that I always forget is a hybrid genre. Fantasy romance. I've been waiting to land on Enemies to Lovers to read this, but this works for a hybrid genre because it's fantasy and it's romance. Yes. I will be reading The Witch Collector by Charissa Weeks next. I'm also obviously still reading Trader of Redwinter. I think I will listen to the audio of this one because it is on Scribd for me. See you in a bit. Get a venti iced pumpkin chai.
Why not?
Can I make that half sweet and add a shot of blonde espresso?
And make it dirty.
Yeah. Good, how are you?
I am well.
Can I use my stars?
Sure can. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. You're all set.
Perfect.
Other than that, what are we up to today?
Literally nothing.
Literally nothing.
It's the best day, right? I literally spent all morning playing video games, so I'm playing Cult of the Lamb.
Cult of the Lamb.
Check them out. Perfect, thank you, have a good day. This is delicious. If you haven't had it, I love the pumpkin chai, and I just need coffee still though, because caffeine is a necessary drug. And so I add a shot of espresso and like make it dirty. And it's so good, but I do have to get mine half sweet. It is still sweet if you don't like anything sweet. Good morning. This isn't for you. I brought my coffee. Well, kind of. Randall, can we not? So I spent all morning playing The Cult of the Lamb instead of doing things I should be doing. But I was listening to the audiobook of The Witch Collector while I did that, which means I am way farther in than I meant to be. Because I meant to update you before like 50%, and I'm at like 50%. I'm 200 pages into it. This is a fantasy romance where every harvest moon our witch collector comes to collect a witch to then bring her to the immortal Frost King to stay forever. For some reason, the witch collector comes and will never accept Raina, and Raina is trying to get accepted because her sister was collected at some point. She wants to go save her sister, and she also wants revenge and wants to kill the witch collector. Since they stole her sister, we're following this fantasy romance as things aren't exactly as it seems, and she realizes that maybe not all is bad and things have been misunderstood. I'm enjoying this, but I'm not loving it. I think it's really, really, really well written. I think a lot of people are going to enjoy this just because of that. Like, I think technically it's written really strongly. I just like don't love the romance, which is like not a good thing when you're reading fantasy romance. I just prefer when my love interests have so much tension and they're like have a lot of banter and they're like really like joking around with each other a lot, because that's the type of relationship like I'm in and that like I like. I'm not as much about like dark and brooding and like just like accepting and like, I don't know, like I find our main character very just like, oh okay, like she just kind of goes along with the flow, and I prefer a character a little bit more fiery. And like, that's just me. So I don't think that there's anything wrong with this book. It's just not working for me. I'm wishing that I would see things that aren't these characters. I feel like I wouldn't even call this enemies to lovers. I get that like she hates him at the beginning, like wants to kill him, but that lasts for like one chapter. It's a very easy misunderstanding that is cleared up. And like, I just wanted more enemies to lovers. I wanted them to hate each other. I want to like be on the edge of my seat any single time that they touch. I just like want to like feel the tension between these two enemies who are really gonna end up shacking, and I just like, I don't feel that in this, and that like makes me really sad. But I do think that like there is a cool world. I do think it's well written. I will definitely be recommending it to people who prefer less banter than I do. I really am like looking for a specific type of relationship. I feel like when I pick up fantasy romance, and I pick it up for like that, so it's hard when I don't get that. I just like am not as interested, and I would rather be reading a fantasy than a fantasy romance when I'm not invested into like the couple. I finished The Witch Collector. I didn't love it. Sadly, this was just a mediocre story for me for all the reasons I said before. I don't really have much more to add on to that. I think that there are a lot of people who will like it, but I am not the audience for it just because I didn't really connect to this relationship and the characters. I don't think I'll be continuing on in this series, even though it is really, really well written. I definitely think that if you are okay with a more like brooding romance, check this out. I also think that if I were to run a book club that read fantasy romance, I think that this would be a really good pick. I think it'd be really exciting to see the conversations you could have on this world. I think that there is a really good plot in this. The plot, I think, is almost more of the focus than the romance at times, and I think that would make for interesting discussion, as well as all of the characters and things like that, and whether people did enjoy the romance or didn't enjoy it and things like that. Like, I definitely would be picking this if I ran a fantasy romance book club. I think it'd be really honestly helpful too. I think that there are things I missed in terms of like motivations and stuff, and if I had people to talk to about it, maybe I could have liked it a little bit more, because that might have helped me if they had told me, well, like, I saw it this way and that's why they were doing things, that's why they were like that, instead of just me sitting here like, well, I don't understand why they're doing this because this motivation doesn't make sense to me. Things like that. I truly just don't think I'm the audience for this story though. I think a lot of people are going to love it. I really hope that's you if you are a fantasy romance reader, and you should definitely check this out. There is a pretty special edition coming, which is why I was like rushing to read it. Now we're gonna go downstairs and spin again because I need another book to read. I've literally just been playing Cult of the Lamb all day long, and it's bad. I should be working, but Cult of the Lamb, it is. I'm loving it. I like go through phases where I like pick up my Switch and just play it for hours and hours and hours and hours. And today is a day like that I feel like I needed a little break, and that feels good. So let's go spin, figure out what I'm reading next. And I'm still reading Trader Red Winter, but it's my nighttime book, so it's just a lot slower than my audios. Revenge story. Oh, that's fun. Honestly, guys, I'm taking one for the team. and I'm gonna finish the Chronicles of the Unhewn Throne. So I'm gonna read the third book in that series. I read Providence of Fire early in this vlog and The Emperor's Blades last vlog. And you know, I just really want to binge it, and this story becomes about these siblings and the revenge that they have for the people that are trying to take down the Empire, in my opinion. That's what I'm gonna read for this. Guys, today is a really good freaking day. Eggnog exists again. I love an eggnog latte. Like, live or die, gun to my head, eggnog or Nick, eggnog. Eggnog. It just is. It just makes me live. It makes me go from this disturbed person who's fucking tired to an active living person. So I'm gonna go make myself an eggnog latte and then get to doing the things I need to do today. Cheers! So good. I'm literally 2 chapters in and already, damn. Just like, what is this book doing to me? Like, I'm already obsessed 2 chapters in. Like, the reveals we're getting. We got a big time jump, which I normally don't like, but I'm already really enjoying it because of the different power struggles I think we're gonna get in this book. Hi, I just filmed my TBR video and my patrons got to vote like what Halloween special effects makeup look they wanted to see from me. So I was Little Red Riding Hood. I don't know if, I'm thinking my TBR video comes out before this, you should have seen it, but if you didn't, here's a sneak peek. I have to update you on the last book in the Emperor Blades, but I have packages here to open first. I picked up the rest of the series. The Providence of Fire, which I read earlier, 5 stars, loved it. The Last Mortal Bond, which I am currently reading, still loving it. And then the series after, which is called The Ashes of the Unhewn Throne, The Emperor's Rune. There's also Skullsworn, which is a standalone, I think, within the world. However, I couldn't find like the matching cover of these, and I want it in the matching cover, so I'm gonna have to like look out for that because I want that. I'm 150 pages in. I'm on chapter 14, which it is 600 and some pages. Again, I'm just loving what is being written here. These females, I understand how they started off the characters in book 1, which I think is the most amazing part of this because I complained so much about their crappy representation in book 1, but like to see their character arc and their character growth has meant so much to me, and I truly am loving that about this book because I really do enjoy the females. I enjoy the politics of the world. I'm loving the scheming. I just love that I literally have no idea who to root for. Like, I have no idea what side is right and what side is wrong, but I'm just picking a side and I'm rooting for that side, and I have picked Valen. I just love Valen. So whatever Valen does, I root for it. I'm here for it. I also just like love the birds, like the Ketrel themselves. I don't know. I don't have much else to say besides like I'm really loving this for all the reasons I loved book 2. I think it could be a new favorite series of mine. I'm really, really enjoying it. I think the world is just so cool. It is very expansive and it's so unique in so many ways, but also follows like familiar tropes. So it's really easy for me to like listen to and love because of those familiarities, but they're spun on themselves, I think, at times. And the world itself is just really cool. So yeah, I'm having a really great time with these. Now I need to take this off because if you've ever had special effects makeup on, after a while you just want it off. I love it. That's the saddest part. It's like, I love it. Like, this is so cool. I wish I could go out all the time in it. But like, also, it feels heavy. And so I want it off my face. But like, I also wish it could stay on my face forever. I need to let you all know that I love the flea. The flea? I just love the flea. I don't think it's shocking for me to say that I don't love motherhood typically in my fantasy books. If you've been around my channel long enough, I think that you would know that I sometimes think that when there's motherhood in a fantasy book, it takes over the entire character's personality, which like, I get is something that does happen when you have children, but it's just something that I can't relate to and I don't love. But I'm loving the motherhood in this. I think it's adding this dimension to the story and this character that I didn't know I was missing. Like, I didn't know I was missing that, but within this third book, I'm really loving that storyline and that arc. I just had to put it out there that there is a motherhood representation in this that I'm really, really enjoying. We need to talk because some updates have happened. But first, I'm having an iced coffee, an eggnog latte, of course, and a cookie for breakfast. Who else is living their best life? It's a chai cookie. Should I dip it in my iced coffee? It doesn't fit. I will once I get it smaller. What we need to talk about is Traitor of Red Winter, because I have decided to DNF it. I hate this for me. I really enjoyed the first one. I really loved Daughter of Red Winter. I thought it was such a cool world. It had like really awesome conversations in it while still having like this epic fantasy plot and world that I was like really fascinated about. So I was so excited to go into book 2. However, I've read another like 10-15% since we last checked in, and I have been struggling through it. I honestly feel like I'm reading like Zodiac Academy. And that is not how you want to explain a book like this. Like it's supposed to be hardcore fantasy. And not that Zodiac Academy isn't hardcore fantasy, but like those are very different styles of books in my opinion. It's just not what I wanted out of this. I kept struggling through it and being like, okay, it's just like a one-time thing, and then it just kept happening again and again and again, and I was just like, I'm not reading this for the romance. If I was, I would pick up a book like Zodiac Academy or like Serpent and the Wings of Night or like a actual fantasy romance, but I was picking this up for the fantasy plot, and in the additional 10-15% that I read, I don't feel like that plot moved along. I just felt like our character relationships honestly didn't even move along either, because we were still just stuck talking about how jealous she was about any time someone talked to either of them. At one point, she says the girl is so cute she'd like to lick her face. And I just like, that's not what I want when I'm reading a story like this, and I pick up other books for that type of story. And so I think it's just an expectation thing, but it's an expectation thing that just like wasn't working for me. So yeah, I decided to DNF that, which is really disappointing. Maybe I will go back to it if I ever hear like great things about like the final of the trilogy, but that hasn't been out yet, so I'll have to wait for that. But at this point, it just wasn't a book that was working for me. However, this is really working for me. Do you ever just like not want to finish a book because like that means it's over? I'm on page 503 out of 640, so I only have like 150 pages left, and I'm like not ready for this story to end. Thankfully, it doesn't like fully end, because we do have Skullsworn, which is a standalone about one of the characters I believe in this. And then we also have the next series called Ashes of the Unhewn Throne, but I don't know who that follows at all. Like, I don't know if it follows characters from this. I haven't really looked into it because I just wanted to like finish this and go into like the next one blind, and I am like excited for that, but like also just like sad that this is over, because this is such an incredible story. Like, I don't understand who possessed me, what is happening to my reading this year. I'm having such a great reading year, reading so many books and series that I think will be all-time favorites, and this is up there. Like, this is up there for one of my all-time favorite series, for sure. 100%. I am adoring this trilogy. I have 30 minutes left of listening time in this. I have a feeling I'm gonna cry. I just have a feeling. It's just so good. I might just cry because it's over. I don't know. It deserves this. It deserves it. That's all I have to say. I finished it. 5 stars. This was incredible in my opinion. This is definitely going down as one of my all-time favorite series. I just think the world building was so cool in this. There's a lot of complaints that this is the weakest book in the series. In my personal opinion, book 1 is. Book 2 I think is still my favorite. I don't know. I think this is my favorite. I think it's my favorite. Because I just like, I don't know, I don't love how it ended, but I think that's a me thing, not a book thing, because like I just hate endings. I just truly dislike having to leave a series, and it makes me dislike the 3rd book a little bit, just because like now it's over, which is like, I could just reread, but it's not the same. I do think that there are some plot holes in this, but kind of the way that Hob has plot holes. I just feel like Hob is like a good familiar series, so I'm going to describe it as Hob. If you've read a Hob book, there are always things left unexplained in Hob that you are excited for her to maybe explain in later books within the world. And because this does the same thing where there's more within the world, like yes, the Skullsworn aren't well described. I don't know everything about the Skullsworn. I still had questions about them, but I'm excited that that's knowledge I can get in later books, and there is a standalone called the Skullsworn, so I'm sure I'll learn more about that in there. I feel like this really was a journey of our 3 characters and Gwenna. And Gwenna is incredible, amazing. I love Gwenna, one of my all-time favorite female characters now. I literally love Gwenna. This was about the journey our characters went on, and we explored a certain amount of the world with them, but we didn't explore all of it. And that has me excited. So even though I can see people's arguments of things like not being explained enough, it never affected my enjoyment because it was things that didn't matter for my enjoyment of this story, and I'm excited that we could get future stories. I think that Brian Stabley is a masterful writing, and yes, this book does a lot. There's a lot in it, but it always feels very natural to me. It feels like a world that does exist because there is a lot that happens in our world. Like, there's a lot and nothing is ever fully explained in our world to one person, and I ate this up so much. I loved this experience. Like, could this be like my second favorite series, third favorite? It's up there. Like, it's up there. Like Fireborn, Poppy War, Book of the Ancestor, Chronicles of the Unhewn Throne, Daevabad, like those are them. Like, to live, like those are my favorite series. Like, I loved this so much. And just like the pure feeling that I never knew who to trust. Like, I never knew. The entire story, I was just like, wait, should we be trusting that person? Is that a lie? Is that the truth? Like, what is going on? And I just like loved that. I loved the politics. I do think that the big bad ending was a little anticlimactic, but I also felt justified in that ending and understood how we got there. Yeah. I need a book just on the Ketrel though. Like, I just want to learn more about the Ketrel. And like, my poor baby Valen. I can't. If you haven't read Chronicles of the Unhewn Throne, please do. It's so good. I have no more words to say to you. This is the end. I'm not reading another book, even though it's only Friday and we technically still have Saturday in Battleathon. However, I won't be able to read another big chunky book. I know I don't have that much reading time in for Saturday, so I will be starting my October reads tomorrow and starting my Halloweekend reads and things like that. So this will be the last book of this vlog and the last book of the spinner wheel for a little bit. I'm retiring the spinner wheel for at least a month because I need to choose my own reads for a bit, but the spinner wheel this is a new favorite, so the spinner wheel, it's coming back one day for sure. Anyways, thank you so much for hanging out with me all month long, for being on the red team, for being on any other team. I think I had the best team, so thank you if you joined my team. Thank you to Lexi for being the best co-host. Thank you to Mel for hosting this. Thank you to everyone for participating. You made it a whole lot of fun. I really enjoyed this month with you guys. And if you want to keep the fun going, there is Halloweekend happening in October. There are 5 mini readathons for Halloweekend. There is a mini readathon essentially every weekend, Thursday to Sunday. It's on Lexi's channel. Books with Lexi, my amazing co-host. Check it out. I'm signing off. If you have made it all the way to the end of this video, let me know your favorite read of September. Mine was this. And then if you want to leave me an emoji just to say you were here, leave me a bird emoji for the Ketrel. And if you want to connect with me on other platforms, my Bookstagram, my Book Twitter, my Goodreads, and my Patreon are all linked in the description bar below. Have yourselves an absolutely remarkable day.